Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Brief Nerdity podcast. I will be your host once again this week. My name is Ryan. Joining me once again is Trent
Hello.
and Ross.
Howdy.
Our super special recurring guest, repeat regular.
Mass Effect enthusiast. Basically, the way it breaks down at this point is if it's about Mass Effect, you get me. If it's about Nintendo, you get TJ. If it's not about one of those two, we kind of switch off weeks.
And we get Nick.
He's a wild card.
Wild card.
So it's like when Nick's on here, it's a special one, so you guys got to tune in.
That's right.
He's like the holographic Charizard.
So I'll start us out with the big question this week. Have any of you slept since Mass Effect Andromeda's come out?
Yes.
During the week, I didn't sleep much. I probably got an average of 4 to 5 a night, but this weekend I was actually like really busy with like family stuff, and so like by the time I'd get home I'd be really tired and not really wanting to play, and so I probably slept 12 hours both weekend days and didn't get to play much Mass Effect, unfortunately.
And
So
how much sleep did you get last night?
4 hours. It's because I was like going crazy. I'm like, I haven't played the campaign all weekend. I need to play some, and so I started like at 10, and then just I told myself, I'm like, I'm not going to look at the clock. I'm just going to go to bed when I'm tired. And then at one point, I felt like it's been quite a while. I should probably look at the clock, even though I wasn't quite tired yet. And I looked at the clock. I'm like, oh boy, it's 4.
So I actually had a really similar experience, but not because of any actual constraints. I'm sitting around the 70-hour mark at this point, and so I not like skipping over things or going, but I mean I tore through the campaign. I had a lot of time I'm able to devote currently. I knew when it was coming out. I got ahead on my schoolwork, and so like sort of going to class on Thursday for a couple hours, I played a bunch, and I got to Saturday, and I have some other commitments that I do on the weekend as far as like role playing stuff. I got up that morning to play a little bit, and I was just skipping the dialogue, and that's how I can tell. Like, I like to listen to the dialogue to get all the stuff, and sometimes I'll get to the point where I'm just like space, skip over what they're saying just to get through their menus. I'm like, all right, it's time to take a break. I got a little burnt out on it, but I don't think that's a bad thing. I think that actually is a testament to how much content there is there. I definitely feel like this game is way, way larger than Mass Effect 3 was. That could just be perception, but especially in video game stuff, we see all the time that people remember the past with rose-colored glasses. Like, everything in this game is worse than Mass Effect 3, says the internet. But it's really not. And I think that definitely the size is the place that I feel like this game has so much more to offer than any other Mass Effect game previously.
All right, well, tell us how you really feel.
Oh, I have critiques. Just let's go through what we liked first. The world was just, it wasn't quite like Zelda World, but I mean it's open. You can explore. There's so much to do.
Worlds.
True that.
Multiple worlds.
But yeah, I definitely agree with you. I'm 53 hours currently, according to my Origin count, and yeah, this is a much, much bigger and longer game than the trilogy. 100% runs with the DLC. Mass Effect 1 nowadays is about 20 hours, and then Mass Effect 2 and 3 are about 40 hours each. And again, that's pretty much 100% with all the DLC. And
So according to the save file, because the save file shows you your completion percent, I am right around 64% complete with the game. But I'm not sure how accurate that number is, because if it's simply number of tasks, there's a lot of those tasks that are minor tasks, especially ones that don't give you waypoints for it, where it's like, while you're on the planet, find 5 of these devices from the Remnant. And it's like, well, you just have to stumble upon them. Like, I've cleaned out every mission, but I haven't scoured every corner of the map.
I'm torn if I'm gonna bother going after those. Like, if I happen to get them, awesome. But nah. I don't care about all of them.
Well, and see, I'm not sure I trust them to make the rewards really rewarding. Like I got to the point earlier where I could turn in a bunch of the starting quest that you get from, like, at the very beginning, like scan 10 rocks, find 10 plants. Like, and so you have to go to, like, a bunch of different planets, because each one has a certain limited number. But so, I mean, these are quests that I've been working on across all the habitable planets for, 60 hours at this point, and I turned them in, and it's like 350 experience, 400 experience. I'm like, are you effing kidding me? Like, this is the worst. Like, this is such bullshit. Like, I've walked across a room to hand someone a data pad before and, like, gotten a weapon.
Yeah, I could see that, and honestly, I'll probably do them just to get the 100% ticker, and probably an achievement to go with it, if I'm being honest. But
If I
at the
can
end,
find a good. Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say I'll probably do everything but the tasks and then finish the story, and then go do the tasks at the end of the story while using a guide, probably to find the random dead bodies or whatever they want me to find at that
Right.
moment that doesn't have a waypoint.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like I think I've been everywhere on EOS, but apparently there's dead bodies that I've missed, and so I'll have to find a good guide at some point to
Well,
take
but
me
see,
back through there.
part of the problem is, are there dead bodies that you missed, or did the quest simply not come out of your log?
There's that
Because
too.
I actually have a quest on Vold that I completed the quest, and when I look at the planet Vold, it shows you like the quest you have for the planet listed there. And this quest is cleared for that planet. It no longer shows up there because it even shows the tasks. However, it's still in my quest log because apparently I went sniper build for this this playthrough, and I shot them from far enough away that it didn't make the dialogue trigger. So it didn't come out of my quest log, but it did count as completing for the planet, and it no longer shows as a quest there. But it's like it's super buggy. I mean, and I looked at it on the EA thing, and there's like 50 people reporting it for that quest and for basically being a sniper breaks your game. In a lot of ways.
Yeah, I've noticed that. Well, I guess I don't know. Might as well get into the critiques now since we're on the topic. As I've also been playing an infiltrator build, sniper tech focused, and the AI doesn't seem well suited to reacting to me. Like if I get up close, they're really challenging, especially the difficulty's turned up. But if I snipe them from decently far away, it's like even the remnant, they're just kind of looking around like,
well, there is a range at which they literally do not react if you shoot them outside of that range.
Yeah.
It's funny because sometimes when they're jumping off the drop ships, they'll glitch and they'll all stand in the exact same place in the air. And so you can take your sniper rifle and because I have penetration on my sniper rifle, get like 6 headshots all at once and kill an entire shuttle's worth of people. And that's funny, but it's not necessarily, fun and dynamic gameplay.
Yeah.
If I'm going to call out one of my biggest critiques, I'm still loving the gameplay. Playing a Vanguard is still fun, always fun, and yada, yada, yada. But I really want to call out the lack of variant of alien faces, especially Asari. I think the fact that pretty much every non-main character Asari has the same face is ridiculous.
I think that there's like 3 faces, aren't there? Like for non-main character, specific story character Asari.
I've only noticed the one. So
because there's the one that's really dark blue, and then there's the one that has
I think they're different shades of blue, and then their face paint may be different, but the shape of the face is the exact same.
Yeah, they're all the same. I mean, you know what it is their faces are actually different, but as a human they all look the same to you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why are you gonna be such an Ashley about it?
Yep. Well, it's the thing, like Asari had very distinct faces. Every Asari did in the original trilogy. Turians and Krogan, again, just non-main character races, all had the same face, but they really hit it well with the different
funny thing here is that
on the Turians' faces and stuff. But
yeah, I don't know if all the Krogans have the same geometry for their face, but the Krogan have the most dynamic faces of anyone in the game.
Because they use Homer's shotgun makeup gun that Homer had in that one episode of Simpsons, where they just put makeup in a shotgun and shoot themselves in the face with it. They're like, "Oh, this is my war paint now."
So I guess my question, I want to do some good and some bad. Like, what has been the best surprise? Obviously non-story wise, in the stuff that you've done so far. Like, what has really surprised you the most?
Specifically non-story wise?
Well, yeah, not like spoilers. Not like, the remnant really are fill in the blank, but
no, I would just, I mean, it is a story thing, but it's not spoiler. I would just say, how consistently good all the squad members are in this game. Even in previous Mass Effect games, I'd pretty much just latch on to 2, maybe 3, and that would be it. Everyone else was either neutral or bad to me. And even though I'm still not the biggest Korra fan, I genuinely like everyone else, and I've been actually switching them out and taking them along with me versus, the original Mass Effect trilogy. It was just people on my team until I get Garrus and Tali, and then Garrus and Tali for the rest of the game.
And
what about you, Trent?
I think your biggest critique also has to do with squad mates, right, Ryan?
Which one is that? Did I talk about earlier? Oh yeah, that's good call. I did talk to you about that. Having recently just played through the Mass Effect trilogy and being a Vanguard, I mean, obviously Vanguards don't do anything against shields and armor, so to speak, and so I'd gotten very used to taking people with me who had fire abilities, anti-armor abilities, and things like Overload to take out their shields. And the fact that like Vetra has one of those abilities, but I can't make her do it, is really, really annoying. So the
And
lack
also
of
the fact that your companions, like for a very large portion of the game, don't do any real damage. At least not on the on the difficulty I'm playing on.
They're
Like
not good on mine either.
I kind of
Nope.
hung back to watch, and like I mean they have like one observer that they're fighting, and it's like, oh, I can go like pop popcorn while they're fighting it and just hang in cover here. Like they don't do damage. I'm not sure
pretty
why
much.
they're here.
So yeah, they're pretty much useless in my opinion.
Yeah,
You know, even if
combat-wise,
I'm
they're underwhelming. They are meat shields, if nothing else.
They do get better. I have all my companions are one talent away from being maxed out. Like not one full talent, like 1 point of last upgrade away from being maxed out. And they deal some pretty substantial damage now. Like the Krogan dishes out a lot of damage. And they get to the point that they do a lot of things that help you too. Like one of his last upgrades that you can take on him after his loyalty mission, but you can see from the start, so not a spoiler, is you can get it where he has fire ammo. So you can just like I have him fire ammo like the entire like he's just shooting at everyone and like they're all on fire and then I just chain overload them all and it's like you're all dead. So
Nice.
they get a little better, but I mean,
Yeah, they're
I'm
useful
60
for
hours into the game by the time that they got better.
Yeah, I typically take Cora and Vetra because Cora is like a Vanguard support tank, and Vetra has her Sentinel like shield boost, armor boost thing. And so me being an infiltrator sniper, I'm pretty squishy, so I just send them literally running in front of me, and everyone attacks them, and then I just shoot everyone down. So I don't actually need them to do damage. I just need them to distract people for me.
yeah.
But as a Vanguard, I can imagine why that would be really frustrating. Because I mean, I as the engineer, I have the abilities to take down the armor and the shields myself.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, I was actually thinking about that. Like for a biotic playthrough on high level, I don't know that you could be super successful because things that are shielded, you just can't do anything to them, and your companions aren't going to do anything to them.
Your overall damage still deals damage to the shields at whatever the fixed rate your powers are. So if you focus on, like, if you have one power that's just focused on damage output, you'd be fine.
That makes sense. Or I mean, you can go into
or you
I don't
have
know.
to get, like warp ammo or whatever it's called on your gun and just shoot it with that first.
I know that there were electric grenades in the last game that would take off shields. I don't know if there's. I know there's electric ammo, but I don't know if there's electric grenades in this one. I think I saw sticky and standard for frag, but they may be under tech instead of combat.
Oh, gotcha.
So the thing that I've been the most pleasantly surprised about it, well, I'll give two. First off, the crew's really grown on me, except for Liam, who I think it can go die in a hole. Like I really dislike Liam. There's maybe that he's a great character and my personality doesn't mess with his, but like the times I wish there was when some of the things he's done, I wish there was a quick action to shoot him. But with the exception of him, the crew's really all grown on me. At least the ones that you can take out with you. Like I initially I was not excited about them, but really all of them but Liam I'm really enjoying. I really turned a corner with Cora when I found out that she could restore both shields and eventually health. She is now indispensable to my team because, again, hard difficulty. But really, I think the biggest thing I've been happy about is that the game is funny. Like there are a number of times that like it's been serious and like I picked kind of a sarcastic answer or something because I didn't like the other one, and like, I mean, for all the faults that I think that the writing has for the main character, and there's a number of them, like there are like a lot of times that the game is just genuinely funny. There was a part that's like a really clear call out to Star Wars, kind of like.
Yep, I remember that part.
Poking fun at that a little bit, but also really funny.
Yep.
I mean, just
that
like
whole mission itself was hilarious.
Yeah, like there's just a lot of things that like have really been like not super serious and full of joy, which is something that I feel is a really big departure from Mass Effect 3. And not that Mass Effect 3 there was nothing nice in it. I mean, there was some happy moments and stuff, but it was always like very down. It was like, we have a 0.0001% chance not to completely die. And while the situation here is obviously very dire when you first start out, and for a long, long time, even where I'm at now, it's still very dire. Like the people don't take themselves too seriously, and I think that aspect of the writing is so great. And I wonder, who they got to do that, because they clearly didn't do the rest of the writing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think my number one aspect, aside from like the distance AI issues that we talked about earlier, I think the combat is just super fun. I have so much fun jumping around with the jump jets and using my Asari blade, even though I really shouldn't be because I'm a sniper, and so if they're that close to me, then I'm doing something wrong. But it's
Freaking love the Asari blade.
I need to try it. I haven't tried it yet.
Just it's so dynamic, and like thinking about every assault in 3 dimensions instead of 2 dimensions. A lot of this has to do with also the multiplayer that we've been playing. It's just so much fun. So the combat for me is number one. The most frustrating thing, I think, and this is a really small thing for me, but I don't like that I can't skip some of the cutscene loading stuff. Like going from the Nexus to a planet and back, just the travel animation itself is really annoying. And it's like, I get that this is really cool, and somebody spent a lot of time on this, and I appreciate their work.
I think it hides loading
and
screens.
It's very pretty, and I get that. But it's so annoying.
Yeah. I think the taking off and landing on planets is. I don't think going from planet to planet is, because there's nothing to load.
Right.
That's true. Yeah, in space, like when I we had like the first 10-hour thing. I'm like, I'm gonna visit all the planets and scan them. And I was so excited about it, and now I hate doing that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, and the problem is that you also there's no way to skip the cutscene if you finish loading. It's kind of like Ryan was talking about when he went back and did his playthrough of the early Mass Effects. There was a hard-coded load scene, so even if you were loaded, you still had to sit there through it. And there's one load screen in the game that you can skip when you're taking the tram between places in the Nexus. If you spam this, well, you can sometimes. If you spam the space bar and you're done loading, it'll cut the dialogue and it'll jump you out of that scene instantly.
Nice. I'll have to try that.
Yeah,
but so it's like, but like the other ones, there's no way. If I was going to give a critique, and here I'm going to throw some serious shade at this game, and we can start getting into the massive amounts of disrespect that I want to show it. I would say that it's the best early access game that I've ever played.
Ooh, that's a little rough.
I mean, if I was going to score this game, honestly, I would have to give the game a 6 or a 7, because I feel that the game is broken. Like, there are some games that have bugs. There are some games that have problems, that are minor things, and they don't affect the quality or the enjoyment of the game. They're just minor annoyances. I don't feel that this game qualifies as that. I feel that this game has things that are broken to the point that if I was not such a fan of it, that would make it to where I would not play it.
Define broken. Like,
there have been multiple times, and this is something that doesn't happen to everyone, but it's happened to me and my wife. We're on very different PC setups, and it's also happened to people, like other people online. It's a reported issue. Where you die and you go to load and your save is corrupted. Your save didn't properly write. My wife last night, 2 nights ago, died, went to load a save. It wouldn't load. It locked up her game, sat there and spun forever. I mean, she waited like 5-6 minutes. Exited out, went to load a previous save. I mean, she had to go back 4 autosaves to get a save that would load.
Jeez.
I mean,
I haven't had anything like that. The worst thing that's happened is that in the very, very first vault, PB wouldn't show up at some point when she did it before. She showed up and then I died, and then I think I told you about this when I went to load back up. She wouldn't show up where she was supposed to, and she is supposed to open a door for me, and she never did, so I had to load back a previous save.
Yeah, I mean, there have been multiple times that NPCs aren't there. Like the pointers point to them and you walk to where they are, and you basically have to save and reload. The problem is that on occasion, they're in a place where you cannot save and reload. So you have to go back, load your last autosave, hope it works, and then run through content that you've done again to get there. And, then generally, after, it's not a consistent enough problem that you get it 2 or 3 times in a row. But, I've had a number of NPCs that are not where they're supposed to be, that are key to quests. It is, I mean, once you figure out the problem here, like, you just don't snipe from far away. But I mean, if you snipe like from way far away where the people are like really small, but you're actually good at shooting and can hit them, it breaks any quest that you're doing, like that involves things in that area, because it doesn't count you as in the area, and so it flags, okay, this person died, but person was not in area, not for quest, and then so if you go in there later, the person's not there and you can't kill them again, and it breaks the quest. Like,
that's terrible.
Yeah,
it's
I mean,
not
that's bad, but I mean, like, I've been playing Sniper the whole time too, and I've not run anything like that. And I don't know if you're just
Well, and maybe it is an
I don't
outlier
wanna
with
tell
me,
you-
but there are other people reporting it, and it's a known
didn't say it
issue
was
on
just
the
you.
forums.
I didn't say it was just you. What I was saying is that I'm wondering, and I don't want to tell people that they're playing wrong, but it's like the game is
You're
designed
playing wrong.
that you get into the encounter, and because you know that there are location triggers for missions.
Well, I mean that's fine, but if you're going to do that, it's not hard to be like, all right, this gun shoots at a maximum range of X, which is the diameter of our location triggers.
Sure, that's fine. I don't know. A bad save is one thing. How much of that is, you know, down to any one thing's fault is debatable. Because I mean, I've had AAA games that people rave about that I've had bad saves in or bugs. To me, broken or game breaking means that you literally like Heavy Rain, for example. When I played Heavy Rain, my save corrupted to the point where I could not play the game, could not load it in, and I remember I had to basically restart the game over if I wanted to play it again.
Yeah, didn't you just come into my room and just watch me play the end to get the end?
Yeah. And so to me, like that's the definition of a broken game. Like to me, quest glitches is not broken. I mean, it's a bug for sure. It's something they should have found in their development cycle, but didn't. But I mean, you're progressing the main storyline without wanting to, you know, get your money back. To me, that's not broken.
I made a YouTube video back in 2008 slandering Fable 2 because I had a game-breaking bug to where I couldn't continue in the game, period, 3 times in my attempt to play through it. So literally on my 4th playthrough, I'd like just put it on easy and just plowed my way through the story because I was so done and tired of starting over in Fable 2. And so, yeah, I could see how...
Isn't plow the word they use for like having sex in Fable 2? I'm pretty sure it is, and it makes it funny when you say you plowed your way through the game.
Touche.
Now, perhaps I am a little overly critical due to having the issues myself, but it's like I'm pretty tech savvy. Like every game, there's like a handful of people that have problems and can't figure out what their problem is. But it's like it's usually not me, and this time it's me, and it sucks. No, I mean, but it's not like I'm trying to run this on a Commodore 64, a Nokia N-Gage or something. Like I meet the specs for the game, and it's just really frustrating, especially like one of the funniest but also stupidest bugs is like if you talk to an NPC and someone else that's in that conversation is too far away, you can't hear them.
Yeah, that's annoying. Or when your teammates are bantering in the Nomad, and then they're obviously going to say something awesome or witty, and then Sam is like, "You can scan for minerals here, Ryder, Pathfinder. It's cold. It's warm, Pathfinder. Oh, there's radiation."
Yeah, I have some very, very serious problems with the AI in this game.
Just never open the G menu when you're driving the Nomad, and he'll never say the minerals thing because literally.
No, he tells you if you're there.
No, if it's closed, he doesn't say anything until you open it. In mine, literally, the little tooltip thing in the upper left will light up, and if I hit G for the window to come down, then he's like, "There are minerals here, Pathfinder." It's like, no shit. Sorry with the language.
If you could scan for minerals, FYI, you're now 60 hours into the game. Did you know you could scan for minerals?
I have mined out entire planets, Sam. Well, no, but so aside from that, like, there's a couple things that they do with him trying to be funny that are just really stupid. Like he misunderstands colloquialisms and things like that. If he's 2,000 times smarter than a human, has multiple years of stuff and can do these complex astrophysical things, I get it. Oh, it's a trope. Like the AI doesn't understand people, but like as smart as he is, that doesn't make any sense.
Like, I understand why Joker fractured his thumb on the mute button in Mass Effect 2.
Like we're assuming he's smarter than the Geth, because the Geth aren't said to be as we don't see them doing the type of complex calculations that he's doing. I mean, they had the good sense to ask, does this unit have a soul? Like he just, for him to be so advanced, like it doesn't make sense other than, oh, haha, it's funny because he's a computer and he doesn't get things. Get it? That's how computers are in sci-fi. Like it's really stupid and kind of appealing to the lowest common denominator there, I feel.
I think it's a little harsh, but that's just me.
I think it's a trope that I mostly agree with Ross. I think it's a trope that's kind of played out. Titanfall 2 had it last year, but it's just a Titan, a mech that kind of follows you around and shoots stuff. So when it does it, it's a little bit more charming, but it was still getting a little tired then. But yeah, I agree to have the super advanced AI do it is a little tired at this point.
So one thing that I've been... Oh, sorry, go ahead, Trent.
If we want to talk about tired sci-fi tropes, I mean, we're going to be here all night.
Touche.
Well, it's like we went to this new galaxy. Like, we literally crossed dark space. We found one species. They look like us. They live in structures that aren't that different from us, but they're blue. And oh, by the way, there's only like 5 or 6 different animals in this entire galaxy on all the planets.
Yeah, it's definitely, there's some limited thought in the design. I mean, you could say that. I mean, I don't know. It depends, because it calls into question a lot of our assumptions about how life traveled across the universe, which we don't actually have any proof of yet. And so this is all kind of just conjecture in the first place. Like, we expect there to be a diverse amount of life and a diverse amount of aliens because that's what the Milky Way galaxy had in the Mass Effect trilogy. But there's no actual scientific backing to guarantee that that is the way it should be. I mean, for all
that's definitely right.
They come up one way. And so maybe there is just those one type of dog in all of Helios because that's the type of minerals or whatever. I mean, I don't know. It's a really interesting, but in terms of fantasy writing, which is what this effectively is, it is pretty lazy.
I feel that the explanations they give are adequate enough for me. Trent, you kind of once told me that sometimes gameplay has to trump lore,
Yes.
and I think that's kind of what it is. You need to shoot people who are bipedal and have guns, and to play as the Angara in multiplayer, they need to be bipedals and shoot guns.
I'm still waiting on that Alcor in multiplayer.
Yep.
And
then they kind of explain it a little bit, because it's only the Helios cluster. It's not the entire Andromeda galaxy. I'm sure there's many other life forms in the Andromeda galaxy, and if there's a sequel to Mass Effect Andromeda, I'm sure we're going to go somewhere outside the Helios cluster and see new and unique aliens. But as well, I don't remember how the conversation happened. I won't go into details in case it's spoilery, but someone says even it doesn't matter what galaxy you're in, physics are still physics. Like, this element still has the same properties and so on and so forth. Like atoms and mass, it's all forgive the pun, but universal. So
yeah, I get that. I think it's frustrating to me that like I was talking to you about this earlier, that we have these 3 planets that I know of that are all Angaran focused, and I'm like, could we not have? And obviously, I'm sure there's at least 1 or 2 more after this that I haven't gotten to yet. But it's just like, it's a little bit of a slog right now in the storyline where it's just like, oh look, Angara and more Angara, and hey look, some more, and look more. Can I find the outlaws now, please? Like,
but it's also like for a game that built itself as you were going to be the first, you're going to go and be the Pathfinder. You didn't Pathfind bullshiz.
Nope.
Everywhere you've been, humans have already been, Turians have already been, the Angara have already been. Like, there's nowhere that you're the first.
Yeah, that is a little frustrating.
And I also don't mind the lack of aliens, or the lack of new aliens, so to speak. I think it's them trying to not. They won't be able to please everyone because I'm not the biggest fan of the Angara, and I tend to side and kind of gravitate towards the Turians and the Solarians and the Asari, for everything. Yeah. And so if they would have introduced us with a lot of aliens, it could be seen as overwhelming for some people that there are so many new races, and so that might have caused BioWare to have less of our races.
But I don't know if they needed to be playable characters. I mean, you think about the Citadel and how many different races were on there, and you saw. I mean, we never played as a handful of them, but a lot of them we got to play in multiplayer because Mass Effect 3 had so many options, which was great. But like, I always just assumed that there were even more races on the Citadel that we just never came across because they were small. I mean, how often do you see the Drell other than like the one that's in your party? You see like him and his immediate family. It's the only Drell you ever see.
Exactly, and same thing with Batarians.
Yeah, and so it's just
Yeah.
Even if they were just background aliens,
I think one of the problems is that they kind of painted themselves into a corner with how diverse a galaxy they created for the Mass Effect trilogy. So there's so many iconic now and incredibly interesting alien species there that I wonder if the wells dried up a little bit.
Could be. And then also, I definitely think they're going to introduce previous races again.
Oh, yeah,
I don't know if
there are some indicators in game that lead towards that.
exactly. I don't know if it's going to happen later in the game. I don't know if it's going to happen in DLC. I don't know if it's going to happen in a sequel. But there's still many races missing, and I'm sure that they're going to show up at some point.
I have some reasons to believe that it's going to be in a DLC as opposed to in the initial playthrough that I won't disclose at this time for spoilers reasons.
That's fine.
Spoilers. But yeah, I mean, I think overall, I think most of us are mid to mid late the game. I've got about 36 hours in it right now. I'm having a great time. I'm enjoying myself. There's obviously some very obvious flaws that I wish they I would like to have a word with their QA department and be like, how the hell did this get to production? But it's super fun. I think I'd give it a 7.5 or an 8 at this point. I mean, it's not like Oh my god, best game ever, but it's really fun. I'm having a great time. I'm having a crazy good time in multiplayer, which was to be expected. So.
Multiplayer is almost perfection for me. I mean, besides the fact that I know they're going to release more maps and more characters as they go on, but it's
Yep.
perfect in my opinion.
Yep, I've been having so much fun, and we have a group of like 8 to 10 people already.
I have a multiplayer critique.
Ooh, go for it.
I feel that it has a problem that Mass Effect 3 had as well, is that there are some very, very, very different power levels in the class options there. And so rather than being able to play a class that you feel is the most fun and having them be balanced, it very much feels like there are classes that are winners and classes that are losers. I was right before we started this, I was in a game with 2 Krogan, and then I was an ultra rare Solarian character, so like one of the 4 ultra rare. 5 is the new Krogan ultra rare. One of the very few ultra rare characters. It's like top tier, and like with these Krogans jumping all over the place, like it's like you can't do anything. Like it, and not to make anyone that likes the Krogan feel bad, but like it's not fun to play with them.
Krogan
because
Vanguard.
it's fun to play as them. Yeah, like it's fun to play as them, but it's not fun to play alongside with them because they're just really, really strong. And it's like I wish that we could have gotten a little more consistent power level rather than having because for Mass Effect 3 there were probably four class race combinations that were super, super good multiplayer, plus the Valis, who was a shield battery. So maybe 5 of them, and then the rest of them were like, oh, they're fine. I mean, but they're not great.
And I'm sure there'll be balancing done as well for that, hopefully.
I think part of the problem is that it's that they're trying to make it somewhat competitive still, but recognize that it's not competitive at all. It's a cooperative PvE scenario. Either you all win or some of you win, or you all lose type thing. And so like that point bar that goes across the top, like yeah, the Krogan Vanguard's going to get a majority of the points unless you're just like crazy good at your class. But if you're like the Asari Sentinel, I think it is, she's like super tank and can go like stand in front of people and raise up her shield and everything and keep anyone from dying for a while, which is great during the objective missions or waves. But the regular waves, she's kind of underwhelming. But in those really hard to accomplish objective waves, I think she is really fun to play. And so like it's hard to this person is really useful when they're useful and then not so useful when they're not.
Yeah, I mean, you all get the same amount of you can literally sit there and kill nothing and you get the same amount of points at the end because all the experience is shared because it's cooperative, and I think that's a good choice. But it's
experience points, yes. I'm talking about the bar that goes across the top that shows everyone's score.
Gotcha. Yeah, but it's also just like the rule of fun. Like it's not fun like running around trying to find people to kill because other people can kill them, almost as quick as they come in. But you're still at the point where if you bump up a difficulty, you get like one shot by dogs, always by dogs.
Especially with the glass jaw 1,000 melee % damage increase.
And you guys played the Mass Effect 3 multiplayer a lot longer than I did, and so you guys could probably comment on this better than I could. But I'm sure there's a point where, me speaking as the Krogan Vanguard that he's kind of speaking about, hint, hint, nudge, nudge. I don't think as we get into gold and platinum or the gold modifiers stuff, I'm not going to be able to do that at all.
No, he was pretty ridiculous through all of the stuff in the last game. He was, because you can get the cooldown on the jump low enough and it refreshes your shields, and you have more shields than anyone else or more shields and life combined than anyone else when you put it all together. Like he was pretty ridiculous all the way through platinum in Mass Effect 3, and maybe he'll be different here. Like that's a possibility.
Well, I think what Ryan was saying is that there's evidence to suggest in the few silvers that we've done that it is going to be harder for them to carry in that way.
And just speaking to my knowledge of the Vanguard in Mass Effect 3, which was my primary class there as well, he was pretty OP because charge, you're invincible throughout, and it refreshes your shields. Nova, you have the option for it to, each time you do it, it takes away half your shields, and then you're invincible during the entire animation as well in Mass Effect 3. That option doesn't exist in Andromeda. There's
so it's full shields?
Yeah, there's only... Nova is a cooldown ability unless you fully max it out. When it's fully maxed out, one of its tiers in the tree there is the option for it to take away all of your shields and just it doesn't have a cooldown, but it takes away your shields. And then I'm also not invincible during Nova either. I've been shot and killed in the middle of a Nova, because you jump up really high with a jetpack and you start Novaing down. And I've died in midair and fallen over. So. I don't want to say good because that sounds really rude, but but good. And hopefully that it's more balanced than it appears right now. Because right now I bought like $90 worth of packs when the game came out, because that's the most the best way to buy the points and and whatnot. And it's and I unlocked a decent amount of stuff, and it's I didn't get him, and it's well. I don't know. It's like it feels bad, man, when there's one character or one or two characters that's so high above the other ones, and you just through RNG don't get it. I think it's just an uncommon, so just buy a bunch of the second tier boxes. I already have a level 6 one.
and I don't know if I've just found my calling in the human engineer, but I regularly compete with Ryan for top score in a match.
And then eventually we're all gonna have to be more
cooperative. You follow him around in Prime, and when he does the jump, you get the damage from the detonation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You just got to turn the Krogan to your advantage.
Listen, I am a combat specialist. I maxed out the combat tree today. I'm a level 6 soldier in the single player. I want to shoot people with guns.
Ryan is my pit bull. I sick him on things.
Krogan smash. But yeah,
I finally got to see the actual clip, and it's in the trailer stuff where he's "You in what army?" And he's "I don't need an army. I have a Krogan." I got that. I got to that point today, and that was super fun.
I had an unexpected great line the other day. Have you guys all done the main story mission on Vold where you rescue the important person?
I know exactly what line you're talking about, and everyone on the internet is loving it.
Is it the one where the one that you can't say on the podcast?
Yes.
Yep. Everyone is loving it.
I want to say it so bad, but we'd have to put an explicit content warning on this podcast for sure.
He can just bleep you out. You can say it and people can hear your joy, and he can bleep the 2 words.
No, just say F or something.
Yeah. So you're talking to one of the bosses that you've subdued, and one of these sarcastic options of the conversation tree is, "I'm gonna F your shit up."
But that's not what it says. It says something like, "I'm gonna make you pay" or something, and then he says that.
Yeah, and so it's wonderfully, surprisingly amazing.
Well, and it's such a well-delivered line.
The reason it's so wonderfully surprising and amazing is because this game is not laden with profanity, and so you get so many games especially Battlefield type games where it's get the F down, it's just cussing everywhere. But the fact that this one didn't made that so much more of a dramatic punch. I was oh, he's not effing around anymore.
Yeah, it was really well done.
There's been a lot of criticism that I've heard from female writers, voice actress, but my experience with male writers so far has been really good.
I think that's something that's so subjective. Let's jump back to Zelda real quick. There were a ton of people that hated the voice acting in Zelda, but I didn't have any issue with it. I thought it was, other than the fact that for some reason Zelda was British, randomly, but maybe that's what her people sound like in Zelda. I didn't think it was really bad, and there are tons of people that really hated it, and we were listening to the same thing. So I think that a lot of that's just a personal taste thing, and that
Yeah, for
Well,
sure.
some of us are right and some of you are wrong, so that's okay.
what we're saying is that you're all wrong, and we're gonna F your shiz up unless you leave a comment.
That's right.
So I kind of want to wrap up on the Mass Effect a little bit. I'll talk
Oh.
briefly on Nexus Uprising, then we'll let you guys go into our last bullet here. But I started Nexus Uprising.
Hang on. Just real quick, while we're talking about critiques, before you jump into there, sorry.
Okay.
I saw something today on Facebook that just kind of puts the cherry on the crap frosting that is the internet's generic reaction to this game, where somebody said that this was this game was a bigger letdown than No Man's Sky.
Yeah, that's BS.
And it had like 100 likes on the comment under like it was like IGN or something like that, and I'm like, this is such crap. Like, what game are you playing?
Well, I mean, we've talked before about how like not people think that there's an award for not liking things, and
Right.
that's just stupid, and they can, jump off a bridge and,
So
We'll
anyway,
get our turn. We'll get our turn after the quarter's up in a couple days, and then EA will probably have their earnings call halfway through next month, and then they'll tout, how well Mass Effect did, because everyone says that Inquisition is the worst Dragon Age game. I personally, it's my favorite of the three of them, and it far and beyond outsold Dragon Age 1 and 2.
Well, let me ask one more question before we get to your book thing, because I always have to have the last word. Do you think that this criticism is actually harmful to the game? Like, because we've talked before about so I want to go out there and say the $100 edition of this game was not worth it. You should buy the $44 edition. The weapons you get, the outfits you get, not worth the extra money. You can buy these same packs from the basic edition to the higher edition and actually save money. So $100 edition, not worth it. But we've talked before about how we like to support the developer because we want there to be more of these games and we want to show that. Do you feel that the fact that PC Gamer has had one positive article about Mass Effect to the 27 negative ones that they've had, do you worry that that's going to kill the brand?
I wouldn't say kill the brand, but it's definitely hurt it. I mean, everyone knows me, at least in real life, in my day-to-day job, or friends who are casual gamers, that I'm the Mass Effect guy. I've been yelling and screaming and loving Mass Effect for 10 years now. I wear the merchandise and everything like that. And so
He's looking at legally changing his name to first name Commander, last name Shepard.
Pretty much. And I've probably had a dozen people just come to me, either just asking is it as bad as what everyone is saying, or people just straight up telling me no, I'm not getting it now. I'll wait till it's on sale or get it used for $20 or something like that. So that's anecdotal, but there's.
Yeah. And I've had a number of people that I've seen online anyway that have commented oh, I'm canceling my pre-order. I'm not going to get this game. So glad that I pirated it instead of buying it and stupid stuff like that. And I'm just it's hard to tell if those people are the type of people that would have already acted that way anyway. Especially the people that are talking about piracy. It's well, congratulations, you didn't buy the stupid thing anyway. But there's probably a good number of fence sitters that have been swayed by the coverage.
They're full of shiz. I just checked. You can't. There's not a copy of Mass Effect Andromeda available to play that's pirated yet. It's not cracked.
All right, well then they're lying their A off then.
Well, I will hope that the multiplayer is what's going to stand out. Obviously, this first week, most people are playing the single player, and that's where most of the critique lies. But people are strangely silent on the multiplayer, other than it's great. So I think as the multiplayer gets bigger and bigger, and they release more maps and more characters, and it gets just bigger and better, I think word of mouth is going to generally be positive. And who knows, how bad was the negative reaction to Mass Effect 3's ending, but how positive was the Citadel DLC received? So they could just release a single player DLC. Are we going to
get a Faces DLC where everybody gets the new face?
Well, they've actually talked about a graphical update to work on the facial animations.
I don't understand how they're so bad. I get the animations are off and maybe that would, but the faces either look like pizza or the surface of the moon, or they're made out of metal, and they're super reflective. I've seen other games, and I get that this is their own engine, so it's a different engine, but it's I'm not talking about super high res, perfect, human likeness, but dear God, I feel like I need to take Ryder to see a dermatologist. What is going on with his face?
Yeah, I don't get it either, because I don't remember Inquisition having this big of a problem with it. And it's the exact same engine. So.
And Animator went actually into a great depth, and I'll try to do a TLDR here as much as I can. For the like important story cutscenes, they usually do finer touches, but the amount of dialogue is just so great in this game that they kind of just make a face, and then they run the audio like through a lip syncing engine and just make it do the work.
But I'm not talking about their mouth at all. Like, I want to know why his forehead looked like it was hit by like space debris. Like his face looks like pizza. Like the people that got teased in middle school for having like super like pocked skin. Like what is? But it's not supposed to look like that because half the time it looks normal. But like, just like the skin looks so unhuman.
I don't know what you're referring to. I haven't run into that.
And I think it's, even though it's the same engine, it's probably just the way the engine is styled. I don't know what you're talking about either, but like the first Mass Effect trilogy, like all the human faces except for the main crew members like looked terrible. Like their faces like looked like they're made of clay, but then even at the time all the aliens looked amazing. So I think it's just the way they render the game, but that's totally conjecture. I don't know.
I wonder if part of the problem we're running into is just the idea of the uncanny valley. You guys are familiar with that?
I think I drove my rover through there. I used the thrusters, so I didn't have to stay very long.
So the idea is that as something gets closer and closer to being human, or to resembling human, it gets cuter up to a point, and then it drops randomly. There's a valley where it just gets super creepy and something that we reject. And I wonder if we're starting. I mean, Inquisition did such a better job with this, so they could have just done what they did. But I'm wondering if that's part of the problem. I thought it was funny. I read today that there's a community standard female writer skin that's been uploaded. So you can. It's like you go into the custom thing, and
it's the list of custom sets to make this other face.
Right. It's like, here's to make female writer look actually like the actress and make it look good.
And it looks way better than the preset one.
Yeah, so much better.
Yeah,
so
probably.
Who knows? Anyway, tell me about the next audiobook I'm buying.
Yeah, so it's funny. I kind of actually completely forgot about it. I was obviously very excited for it, but with us, playing the EA Access trial early and then, kind of starting playing the game Monday night, and I took 2 days off of work and was pretty much playing all day for both those days. I kind of just like forgotten about the book. And then this weekend, amongst my driving to and from family members' house, I was like, hey, wait a minute. I have a Mass Effect book to read about the Nexus Uprising. So
I thought it was odd. I thought it was odd to have it come out the same day as the game. It's like, aren't you doing other things those days? Like if it came out a week before the game,
I think
like
maybe
that
they
would
wanted
make a lot more sense.
I think they wanted to retain the surprise that the state the Nexus was
There's
when
no
you get
surprise.
there.
People were streaming it like 3 days before it came out. I don't know.
Exactly.
Like,
so I think it should have got 1 week.
I think that honestly, if I was just to say one thing, I think they screwed up with this more than anything else. I think that they did a really, really bad job with the press decisions that they made and giving people access and when they got access and what they got access to. Like, I think that more than almost probably anything else has led to the bad PR frenzy that they've seen.
Yeah, well, I think we talked about that last week, didn't we?
Yeah.
Maybe we have new viewers this week.
Well, check out last week's podcast for us.
We have a small backlog for you to listen to.
But I'm only like 6 or 7 chapters in, but I'm enjoying it so far. Sloan is the main character, who was the head of security on the Nexus before the Uprising. So, and is a main character, a semi-main character, supporting character in the game later on. So I'm excited to get more detail on Nexus Uprising. So
I have the book literally sitting here in front of me and haven't picked it up because all my free time I've been spending playing Mass Effect.
Yeah, there's been a couple podcasts that I've been trying to binge through these last couple weeks, so I haven't been listening to any audiobooks lately. But I probably have like 8 or 9 Audible credits to spend, so I'll definitely pick this one up.
So here's one more thing about Mass Effect, because we're gonna have one more thing for like another hour and a half about Mass Effect.
One more thing.
One more thing. Magic must defeat magic. What do you guys think about some of the decisions you have to make in this one? Like there were decisions in the last one, but like really like the last big decision for Mass Effect 3 was the only one that I was like, oh my god, what do I do? Like tear my heart out. Like the decisions in this game are brutal. and like questionable and morally like gray. And there's a lot of them where picking the best like moral answer does not get you the best outcome.
Yeah, the one random side quest on the ice planet one, I was like, this is a big choice for a random side quest.
I don't remember what the choice was. Which one?
You went underground into an ice cave.
Oh yes.
Yep.
Yeah,
and so I was.
A lot of them have been really good. I like the we've talked about the murder mystery one already.
That one actually comes back and really frustrates me because there's one later, and this is not going to be spoilerish. There's a person who does bad things, and so your options are to let someone else murder him or to put him in jail. And it's like, why can't, like, we have a preponderance of evidence that this person is bad and has killed lots of people. Why can't we put him to death? Why is my only option to put him into jail when you're going to put that other person to death earlier? Like, what is going on with your legal system here?
I think it's just an example of side quests not being written by the same people. But yeah, I thought that one was really good. I had a really hard time with the one on Vold for the main story one. Because I was like, well, crap.
You're talking about after you rescue that important person?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
See, I almost had a hard time with it, and then the important person told you what to do, and I'm like, well, everyone in her species thinks that you're saving the Moshe, okay? At this point, you should know that. It's not a spoiler. Like, she's like, no, you must do option B. And I'm like, well, everyone in your species thinks you're like the smartest one of them like ever. So I'm just going to do what you say. And then if it doesn't work out, it's on you.
Joel's with you automatically, right? Or did you have to have him in your party? I have him in my party.
He is a forced, it's a forced mission for him.
Okay, that's what I thought. So, I mean, she says one thing, he says another. I agreed with him.
Like, I also agreed with him.
Is that what you did?
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, this was, I mean...
So wait, what happens? We can't talk about it here. I'll ask you afterwards what happens. See, there are some of these that my wife and I have done the same choice on, and I'm like, no, pick the other one. She's like, why? This one's better. I'm like, because I want to see what happens if you do it that way.
I'm going to watch so many YouTube videos once I beat the story.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, because...
So that was a good decision, or a good kind of moral quandary thing, but there was one on the desert planet that kind of pissed me off. It was with the tapping of like the water, and then you have a sudden random decision to tap water or natural gas.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, hey, we're gonna make these friends with these people that we found, like.
And you totally clicked the wrong one.
No. And then your party members shiz all over you for like destroying the planet.
I'm like, wait, why is tapping one natural gas vein gonna destroy this new planet? Like,
so I didn't want to get into this with you because I know that
political like fracking commentary.
It very much was. There is a lot of SJW commentary in this game, and there are some people that are very upset over it. And I don't think that they're as far out in left field as they usually are. I think that there's a number of places here that are very pointed political commentary, and I don't mind it. I have thick skin, but yeah, there's a lot of it, and that was a very clear example of being like, way to not make a game, but to try to make a political statement.
Yeah.
See, I thought my thing was funnier there because I was gonna go with them as well, but then I just saw like a close by thing on my nav point, and I'm like, la 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 la. I went over and clicked it, and then like that was basically like the screw over the little guy one. So I was like, oh.
So does that little group, do they get all mad at you?
I don't know. I was scared to go back and talk to him, so I was just like, oh, okay, bye.
That's frustrating to me because they don't explain to you what the possible problems are. Like Vetra and Cora just got like really mad at me for even thinking about it.
PB's like, I guess you don't care about the planet.
Yeah. Vetra's like, are we really gonna poison our new planet? And I was like, wait, why is this poison? It's natural gas. Like, even before fracking, we had ways of getting natural gas. Like, it's one vein on a desert planet that's already screwed over that we have alien technology terraforming
putting it back together.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Like, how?
I will tell you the biggest moral problem I have with this game, kind of from that perspective, like outside view, is why does Ryder feel that he's the only person entitled to remnant tech? He's gone and he's stolen it from Angarans. He's stolen it from people who were thrown out by the Nexus. And like, there's a point where you have to go steal something and like rob a scavenger who went and scavenged this thing from a remnant site.
I'm not that far. Ryder's just been helping people unlock remnant stuff at this point for me.
Yeah, the non-spoiler, you get to steal something that they have legitimately salvaged because you want it or need it. And it's like,
Well.
you don't have a right to that. It's not yours.
Meh.
Like, but you have to do it. You literally can't progress the story without it. It's a prereq to colonizing a planet, and therefore you have to do it.
Well,
And
that's
it's like,
that's your answer then. Your choice is to stop playing.
but it's a bad choice. Like,
It
like-
may be bad writing, but I mean, like, there's plenty of arguments you can make. I mean, you're talking about are they like Milky Way races?
yeah.
I mean, you could make the argument that they should have been with your group anyway. So anything that they do,
I mean, they were until we threw them out.
we didn't throw them out.
The people we work for did.
Yeah,
There's two sides to that story.
right.
And everyone thinks the other one is the devil, and everyone thinks they're innocent in it. So
Joke's on you. I'm far enough in the game. I know how the story actually ends. Ha. No.
Yeah, I think that's another problem with the Nexus leadership, where it's like, and I think we discussed this a little bit last time, but it's like, you people couldn't even keep the lights on when I showed up. Like, how about I take my arc and we leave, or you just put me in charge. Period. Like, no more of this like questioning me every 5 seconds. Like, I rescued you. I'm saving our people here in this galaxy. Like, GTFO, do what I say.
Yeah, I don't actually need your Nexus. We'll hook up with the Angarans, and I'll tell them that you're not to be trusted.
Exactly.
see, I struggle with that because I really like Tan's voice actor. So
I like
Oh,
the
but I
voice
hate
actor.
him as a person.
Right. He does a good job
Yeah.
acting, but I want to punch Tan in the gut. Like,
See, and
I
that's
like
one of the things.
Krogan,
Like,
and I like the Turian. Everyone else can go die in a fire.
that's one of the things that's like weird about the character too. Is like he's very forceful and like bad A in some rare situations, but the rest of the time, he's kind of a little bit of
Yeah,
something that starts with B. Yeah, pushover. That's a family approved word for that other word.
all right, well, let's get off of Mass Effect. We've talked about Mass Effect a lot for the past 3 weeks.
So one
I'm
more
sure-
thing about Mass Effect.
No,
I'm done.
For about an hour.
God,
All
Ryan,
right.
fine. We'll talk about Super Mario Run because there's tons of people that want to hear about that.
I just saw that's in the Android store today. I'm so excited. I'm literally going to get it after.
Are
this
you?
podcast.
Because you might be the only person at this point.
Maybe. I don't care.
Like I saw it. Actually, might be TMI, but like my phone is being sent. It's not really TMI. I don't even know why I said that.
He's
My
gonna
phone
tell
is
us he
being
saw it in the bathroom.
my phone is being sent in for repair, warranty repair.
It's like, wait, did your phone get corrupted because of porn? Like, what's going on?
He
but
dropped it in the toilet and had to send it off to auto repair.
I just Craigslisted, a Samsung phone. Just that was like $50 on Craigslist for me to use temporarily for the few weeks my phone is out. So I've heard that you can't transfer your saves. I don't know if that's true or not, or if that's only true on iOS or whatever, or at least like it's not cloud based, So I was like, I'll wait till I get my phone back.
As long as you can root your phone, you can transfer anything off of it because you can literally just copy over the save file.
I know. I don't want to bother with any of that on this temporary phone and stuff.
I understand some people that might get it, but like as people who own a Switch, I don't understand why you wouldn't just buy a game on the Switch. Oh wait, because there are none.
Right, there are no Mario games on the Switch yet, or else I would love to.
That's true.
And the general consensus is that Mario Run was fun, but not $10 worth fun.
I've heard that this is a funny thing to say. It's going to sound like the people are like jerking off. I've heard that it's a really good game to play with one hand. But people who are like standing on the subway and like holding on to a pole, or people who have a child in their arms, like I've heard that like the fact that you can play it with one hand is actually a really big draw.
Yeah,
I've also heard that. That's kind of what they did, or that was their intent with the design. So, yeah, I'm excited for it. I'll get it when I get my phone back. And Trent's obviously going to get it. Do you guys think that because Nintendo waited this long to bring it to Android, they kind of just killed Android's hype for it?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I haven't heard anyone that's excited about it today. Like, I was going to install a different app and saw it on the homepage, and I was like, oh, hey, look, it's out finally.
Did you know it came out 4 days ago?
I had nope. I guess this is the first time in 4 days I've looked at the Google Play Store.
And here's the thing about it. Like, it might have generated some hype if it was 99 cents. But for $10, no one remembers it at this point. I mean, like they had like Miyamoto on Jimmy Kimmel's show, like promoting this thing.
Yep.
Months ago.
Well, and that was also before the Switch came out. So like the only new exciting Nintendo thing at that time was this app.
Yep.
And now it's like, if you're excited about Nintendo, you're probably playing Zelda.
Hey, on the bright side though, On the bright side, when you play Super Mario Run on your phone, it'll be at a higher resolution than anything that runs on your Switch.
Ouch,
It's
too
true.
soon. Too soon.
But yeah.
Although to
So,
be fair, my phone is more expensive than the Switch.
Probably by a factor of 2, I guess.
Yeah, I think the Samsung Galaxy S7 retails at like $600 or
Yeah,
something.
that's why I thought it was funny when people were getting mad that the Switch didn't have like like the sapphire crystal screen and all this
Right.
other stuff. I'm like, dude, it costs half the amount of your phone.
Right.
Like, and it has a screen that's twice as large as your phone.
Yeah, like
and probably a better graphics card than your phone.
Yep. For what it has, it's very good still. Oh, so should we talk about the Switch's hardware announcement?
Yeah, go ahead.
Did they recognize that they broke all the Joy-Cons?
Not all of them, but a large
A lot of
majority apparently. So Nintendo has come out and announced that there is a factory defect with the left Joy-Con that causes pairing issues. They are doing a free mail-in repair with a week turnaround system for those who would like to send theirs in to get it fixed.
Because that's what everyone wants to do, is buy a new system and then have it not work, and then have to send it off and wait a week for it to come back, and then maybe it works. Maybe you get the same one back. Maybe you get one that like someone else's kid chewed on.
Well, supposedly they repair yours and send you yours back. That's what the press release said. I
Might
think
do
a
that
week.
before Orlando.
I think a week turnaround is really good because I could actually, yeah, like you were talking about, get it done before Celebration. I might wait just in case, like they say it's a week and then it ends up being longer than a week. Because I mean, my left Joy-Con only has problems like once out of every like 10 hours probably, and it's not that big a deal.
Stores are really clamped down from when I was a teenager, and I totally do not support this as a policy. It was wrong when I did it. I shouldn't have done it. But we used to just rent things from Walmart. You just, if you needed like an extra controller for a weekend, you'd go pick it up and then take it back to, like, you pick it up Friday night, take it back Monday morning, be like, oh, actually, this wasn't the one I needed, or I don't endorse that. That's bad. You shouldn't do that. But it is what we did back in the day with N64 controllers.
Our young and impressionable audience.
Well, it was because I didn't have an N64. Like, one of our friends had an N64, but he didn't have 4 controllers. So when we'd all go over there for the weekend to play games and have like LAN parties, except even pre-LAN party because we didn't have computers to take over, like we needed 4 controllers for Smash Brothers, and his parents weren't buying more controllers.
Yep. So
that's some Twitch or some Switch news that has been making the rounds today.
Yeah,
I think it's good if Nintendo they weren't bound to say anything on the matter. They could have just fixed it in their next release and just never looked back. But I think the fact that they went out of their way to create a free substitute replacement program is good of them. I mean, it's the right thing. It's like, I'm not giving them a pat on the back for doing it, but they could have done nothing. So,
guys, holy crap! I just sent my strike team on a mission to gold a few hours ago. It had like a 15% chance of winning, and it won. This is the same strike team that can't win 95% bronzes. So,
well, apparently they're idiot savants, and you found their niche.
There you go. You guys will be used exclusively for gold. Sorry, distraction. So let's switch over to movies. This has been an amazing month for movies. We had Logan, King Kong, Beauty and the Beast, and now Power Rangers, and all of them were great.
I've seen 2 out of the 4.
All of them were great.
Seeing Beauty and the Beast tomorrow. I don't know if I'm planning on seeing Kong in theaters.
I was pleasantly surprised with Kong. It
has giant spiders in it.
It does.
So can I ask a spoiler? I'll ask a spoiler question about Kong, and Trent doesn't have to answer, or Trent can say that he doesn't want an answer. Rather, so because you're doing this whole monster universe thing, does Kong not die at the end?
Yes.
Yes, he does not die.
He does not die.
That's for you to decide. No, Kong. Spoiler alert: Kong does not die at the end of the movie.
I figured as much.
But
so I want to bring up something a little nerdy, or actually very, very nerdy. That's not in our podcast notes. I'm going to take us off. Are
we done? Are we done talking about movies already? Then.
Oh, sorry. My battery.
Nice, Ross. Jeez.
Whose podcast is this? I don't see movies in theaters. I'm done talking about movies.
Okay, well, obviously I've only seen 2 of them, but by far Logan, it's going to be hard to knock Logan off my best movie of the year.
Star Wars?
Yeah, probably.
Star Wars?
Probably.
Guardians of the Galaxy 2?
Maybe
Spider-Man?
it all
not
depends on how
Spider-Man.
those do. I'm not. I don't. I mean, I think they will all be really good movies that you've mentioned. I just don't know. I mean, Logan I was blown away by it.
It was really, really, really good, and it is going to be a tough spot to beat.
The people who I know that have seen it have said it was the movie that X-Men finally deserved.
Yep. That is that, and well, it's funny because of the way the stories interact. But that and Days of Future Past were my two favorites, because of the way they both kind of fixed and or made real the X-Men universe.
And now that Fox finally got it right, Patrick Stewart and Wolverine are done.
Yep.
I'm actually really sad to see Patrick Stewart go. Patrick Stewart is one of my all-time, and by go I mean be done with the X-Men, lest anyone misunderstand. Patrick Stewart is one of my all-time favorite actors, and I understand that like they're taking X-Men in what I feel is a good direction with this newer, younger approach, but it does really make me sad to see him go as Professor Xavier.
So that's a good question about where X-Men movies are going from this point. Are they still planning on following the new, like, Sansa Stark as Jean Grey, that group?
That's the plan as of right now, from the mouth of Sansa Stark herself, is that she's already kind of said that they're talking about their next movie. Okay. But that's the only info we have so far besides Deadpool's plans, because we have plans for Deadpool 2 and an X-Force movie now because of Deadpool.
Right, because I would also be very interested in seeing a movie that follows X-23.
She's probably a little young right now to get her own movie because she's more notoriously like a teenager in the comics.
Sure, and maybe they either recast her or they wait for the actress to get bigger. I'm sad that those two groups aren't anywhere near each other on the same timeline.
Knowing Fox, they just don't care about a timeline, so they'll just put her in 80s.
She'll travel back in time.
Bishop will take her for some reason back in time. Somehow.
So something will happen to Wolverine and he'll need saving, and that's like she'll come back because something's messed up with Wolverine, and that's how they'll cast the new Wolverine.
Interesting note, I don't think anything will come of it, but Hugh Jackman has said that he'll come back and play Wolverine if he's part of the Marvel Universe, Marvel Cinematic Universe, and an Avenger.
Oh, no, really?
Yep. And so that, I doubt it'll have any major thing, but like a small part of me like hopes Fox would be like, okay, we really want that money of Hugh Jackman being an Avenger, so for them to make a deal with Marvel.
Speaking of Avengers and all things Marvel and all things Disney, have you seen the major buyout rumors this week?
Nope.
No.
There are some pretty not substantiated, but some pretty serious rumors that Apple is looking to buy Disney.
What?
That's not possible.
It's totally possible. Apple has more money than Jesus.
I don't think Apple is rich enough.
They have a lot of money, but not that much money. Disney is one of like the big six or whatever they call them. Like Apple does not have that money. Period. I mean, that reminds me of the rumor a few years ago that Apple was going to buy Nintendo. You know, I don't know. I don't believe that for a second. And
I don't think that'd be a good investment for Apple.
It makes no sense either. What?
I said I don't know that Apple could do that. They don't generally release cheap products. I guess they do eventually. They call them AirBuds, and you'd have the Nintendo Switch C.
AirBud was the dog that played basketball.
AirPods. And they bought AirBud. It was part of the Disney acquisition.
Yep.
I brought it full circle. Sorry. So going back to what I was saying before, when I accidentally and somewhat rudely tried to hone in on your movie time after my headset battery died and I couldn't hear you for like 20 seconds.
So now are we done with movies?
I thought so this time.
No.
Jesus Christ! Tell me when you're done with movies, and I have something to make.
We barely talked about one.
So, speaking of another studio owning a beloved Marvel character and making movies outside of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Sony has made the stupid idea to make a standalone Venom movie. What do you guys think?
Okay, well, before we get too far off topic, Power Rangers was fun. You should
Power
have
Rangers
seen
was awesome.
it. I'm not gonna go that far, but it was fun.
I enjoyed it.
May the power protect you.
I thought it took a little bit too long for them to become Power Rangers.
Yes, and I did not like the morphing mechanic.
Yeah. And some of like
It was dumb.
the teeny tweeny stuff was annoying. And the Yellow and the Black Ranger were pretty much non-existent characters.
Yes.
But like it was all forgiven when like they jump into the Zords at the end, spoiler, and it starts playing the Go Go Power Ranger song.
It didn't last long enough though.
Spoiler, it's in the trailer.
It lasts like 10 seconds.
I don't care. I melted in my seat with glee.
I wanted that song to be playing while they're beating the crap out of people.
Yeah, true.
But it was good. I mean, I really enjoyed it. I told my friend, he's like, so he's like, what'd you think? I was like, well, it greatly exceeded my expectations. Like, well, where'd you set your expectations? I was like, the last Power Rangers movie was my level of expectations. Which
I still love the old Power Ranger movie though. Like it's corny as hell, but
funny
I love
and campy and corny. It's really fun to watch drunk. For those of you who drink. But yeah, it's entertaining. So anyway, it was really good.
Yeah.
So now that we're done with movies, okay, I'm kidding this time.
Switching to
I'm
Venom
kidding.
movie.
No, so I think that the Venom movie was inevitable because if you look at movies that are doing really well, like that you can crank out in large numbers that seem to do reasonably well, superheroes seem to be where it's at because all of us nerds that used to get beat up or picked on in school, now have money and want to spend it on things we like and tell the jocks they can go watch March Madness. And so like with the massive industry that is comic book movies. Sorry. Like you knew that Sony's not going to give that up.
No, but
I
was hoping they would.
Well, that, and I thought they would have at least waited to see like how well this Spider-Man movie does and is well received, and we know some of the details of their deal, and Sony gets all the money for Spider-Man: Homecoming. Like Kevin Feige is just like a consultant and kind of in charge, just kind of overall. But basically, the deal is that Sony gets all the money for the Spider-Man standalone movies with the help of Kevin Feige, and Kevin Feige gets to use Spider-Man in his movies. Is kind of the TLDR of the deal. So I guarantee you Spider-Man: Homecoming is going to be far and away more successful than the two Amazing Spider-Man movies.
Yes.
And so I
don't understand the hate for the Amazing Spider-Man movies. The second one, the end was terrible. But
I don't understand. I liked both of them. I'm just saying compared to
am part of the hate.
They're lower quality.
I would rather have Andrew Garfield as Spider-Man than this new Spider-Man. Granted, I like the fact that like we're going to be in the Marvel universe. Like I'm all on board with that. But I felt that they really nailed the casting last time. And that this guy is he looks too young to me.
Well, I like
Spider-Man is young.
He's supposed to be really young.
But okay, so Spider-Man happens when he is a sophomore or junior in high school.
Yes.
Initially, like this guy looks like the only way he is like a sophomore or junior in high school. Maybe like high school kids have just gotten smaller since I was there, and I'm just
that's how it works.
An old fogey
now because there's a high school like right across the street from my office building. Like they're all babies.
So fine, I have no problem with the casting of Spider-Man. I'm just a crotchety old man.
Part of the problem is we have bad perspective of what people looked like when we were that age, compared to the fact that every teen show you've ever seen casts like 28 to 30-year-olds to play high school students. So we're used to these hyper, developed adults playing high school students on TV, and we just are like, oh wow, these kids are like tiny. Aren't you in middle school?
But the Spider-Man: Homecoming, from all accounts, looks like it's doing great right now, and I am one of the Amazing Spider-Man haters. I mean, Trent, how many pages was that paper I sent you? I wrote up on all the reasons why I hate Amazing Spider-Man 2.
It was pretty long. I don't remember the exact level, but
it was long. We had an argument pre-podcast where I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna write a paper and send it to you.
I just told him how much I enjoyed it, and he wanted to stomp on my joy.
You have to forward it to me. I hate the ending of the second one, but it's like because it totally invalidates like Peter feels bad, but he shouldn't feel bad because Gwen Stacy made the whole speech about how she can listen. If you're worried about Spider-Man, the Amazing Spider-Man spoilers at this point, you're in the wrong place. Because like like she gave this whole speech about I make my own decisions and you can't make decisions for me and I'm responsible for what happens to me, not you. And then she dies and he's like, it's all my fault. And I'm like, did you listen to nothing she said? You literally webbed her to a car to keep her from coming. Like, this is not your fault. I didn't like the end of that one, but the rest of it I liked.
I mean, survivor's guilt is a real thing, whether you had any fault or not. Like, so that
But
I understand.
It's more of a discussion than I want to get into at this juncture. But
Maybe
maybe
we're talking about this super old Spider-Man movie for the next half an hour.
why don't we
you.
we'll plan to have like Spider-Man, which was the best type things, and we'll do that leading up to the Spider-Man movie release.
I think you should
Spider-Man
write
2.
right after the new one.
There you
So
go.
That'd
we
work
have
too.
a new one to compare with.
So to bring it around, I think that with the fact that the Avengers are going to space in Infinity War, that would have left a perfect opportunity to introduce the symbiote and have Venom included in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. But Sony is squandering this opportunity and are just going to do a standalone Venom movie without Spider-Man because they can't use Spider-Man because he's part of the Marvel Universe and they can't like connect those universes up.
One thing that I pointed out last week when we didn't make it to this because we talked about Mass Effect Andromeda for the entire time. One more thing about Andromeda, actually, is that in the current main Marvel universe, the Earth 616 is their current big continuity. Deadpool actually comes in contact with the symbiote before Peter Parker does and wears it for a while and worries that his bad personality would corrupt the symbiote, which is why he gets rid of it. So I'm wondering if we're going to see like a Deadpool symbiote type of thing going forward, like if that's something like that they could do.
I don't think so because Sony
those two
owns
different
Spider-Man
studios?
and Fox owns Deadpool, so
Oh.
they're less likely to work together than they are.
That's what happens when you sell off your universe for parts.
Well, they were going bankrupt, so we might not have anything if they hadn't. So.
Nah, then they were just in the public domain. It would have been awesome.
I don't know if I just feel like I have to be the voice of positivity on this podcast tonight, but I'm actually not unexcited about Venom. Like, I want to see some trailers and see what they do, but like the idea of kind of like a dark rated R sci-fi horror, movie with a super villain character, it could be interesting.
Could be interesting.
I'm curious who his antagonist is going to be.
Probably just going to do Carnage.
Water. If he falls into water, it really messes him up.
Church bells. Venom versus church bells.
Church bells and small ponds.
Oh man, the social justice warrior is going to go crazy if he starts fighting church bells.
Oh, they'll be all about it. So let's before I get into my other nerd thing that I want to give Trent a hard time for later. Stay tuned, fans.
We have one more movie thing to talk about.
Oh, do we? God, I thought we were doing movies. I was at least moving to television.
So
how many movies can there be?
I think this is the last thing unless Trent has one. But
I'm really not trying to cut off your movies. I'm sorry. I
haven't seen the other two for this month yet. So
I think it's just a funny joke now. We just keep going. You keep interrupting us, and then we keep stopping you and going back to movies.
There's new news on that Need for Speed movie. Like
No, what do you guys?
I heard that they're previewing that in San Francisco.
San Francisco? Come on, get it right. So Ghost in the Shell, it's the last movie coming out in March, so to speak. Yeah, so I'm saying that's what I'm asking. Do you guys think, obviously, Ross, you haven't seen any, and Trent, you've only seen 2, but, generally the 4 movies that we've talked about already, Logan, King Kong, Beauty and the Beast, Power Rangers, have all been positively received good movies, and they've all been successful at the box office. Can Ghost in the Shell continue that trend and cap off possibly the best March ever?
Nope.
I don't think so.
And I think that there's a couple of reasons for it.
It has troubling casting. It's already a niche movie in terms of its fan base.
And it's a fan base that is rabid in their devotion. So if it is not 100% to the letter, to the dot on the I, cross on the T, perfect, they're going to like froth at the mouth.
And the fan base
I think
already upset at who the main character is being played by. So
listen, Scarlett Johansson, if you listen to our podcast, you can come play any character in my life that you want, and I am completely okay with it.
I think your wife might have something to say about that.
Dude, my wife would be all sorts of on board with that.
So
yeah, my ex and I's rule for me was Ryan Reynolds. So
I'm looking forward to reviews.
You can do him, but you can only do him when he looks like Deadpool. Would you still do it?
Can I have him wear the mask?
Have him wear some sort of mask. I hear that's a thing in some of those circles.
Oh,
Only with the
man.
Hugh Jackman stapled.
Yes. All right. Anyway, let's move on.
All right, yeah.
Are
That's
we
it.
done with
That's it
movies
for
now?
I mean, I'll go see Ghost in the Shell if it gets positive reviews. I'm not familiar with the anime or manga at all, but if it gets good reviews, I'll probably go see it on a $5 Tuesday.
I mean,
But-
I didn't see either of the last two Star Wars movies in theaters, so do you think I'm getting out for Ghost in the Shell?
Well, yeah.
I'm Miss Scarlett Johansson on a big screen with like
I mean,
cyber boobs. So
it's not even her boobs. She's just such a phenomenal actress. She really commits to everything she does.
yeah,
Like
sure.
her sexuality is not the reason I would go see her in a movie. She's just phenomenal. She fully commits to every role that she does.
And with that, we're going to transition onto your talking point, Ross. Go for it.
Well,
Take it away.
real quick before I make fun of Trent, because I enjoy teasing it almost as much as I do actually doing it.
That's what he said.
Yes, I did. So I think that with this past week's Arrow, which you guys probably haven't seen, that Arrow has taken back the throne as the best CW show.
Yeah, bold move, Cotton. Let's see how it plays out.
Wow, really?
It was so phenomenal. At the end of it, I was trembling. Like it is. First off, it looks like we're done in Russia, which I know that everyone's really happy about. Seems like that arc has come to a close. And it was so good. Like I was like, you have brought it full circle. You've redeemed it. And one of our items on this list was that someone might be coming back to that show. Did I see that somewhere? Question. Do we have notes for this?
Yep. The actress playing Black Canary is going to be back as on season 6 as a regular.
Which Black Canary? Like Laurel's actress or the other one?
Laurel's actress.
Oh, that's good. Okay, cool.
See, he likes her. I
don't.
ambivalent. Ryan hates her. So
to the actress or to the character? Or?
No, the actress is fine. She seems like a nice person, but I just hate Laurel and Black Canary and the
You don't know anything
Siren.
about this Laurel because this Laurel's from a completely different universe. She doesn't have the same personality.
Well, I know that she's gonna do the like, I'm evil, I shouldn't be good, and Arrow's gonna be all like, no, I know there's good in you. No, I don't want to be good. Okay, I'm gonna be good. That's how it's gonna go. Exactly.
I don't think so. Like in the old school
recording back for you in the future.
in
will.
the old school Justice League, Black Canary has to leave because she doesn't agree with she's not on board with them. Like Vixen gets thrown out, and then Canary is basically like, I can't work with you guys because I'm not you guys.
This is a CW show. They're gonna keep their ensemble cast, and they're gonna be best friends with just teenage angst amongst themselves. You know that to be true. B, I don't know, just A.
Just A is all you really need.
just A.
See, I think let's see how much hate mail and anthrax we can get this week. I think that's a place where like diversity hurts stuff sometimes because it's like they're not going to kill off the black character, right?
That
like
would require listeners.
Well, they just do what Walking Dead does. Whenever they kill one black character, they just get another one like the next week.
Well, I mean, we have 2 now, right? So that sounds awful. I'm going.
We're going down a deep dark hole.
Okay, so there's only one gay person on there, so I can joke about representation on that show.
I'm trying to think of any of the. Yeah, he's I think the only one. The Curtis.
Right, and so to keep both, you'd have to kill off Diggle, which is never going to happen. I don't think, anyway.
They just need to like. I'm really disappointed because at this point they're not going to do it. But like for a long time, I was hoping that Spartan was going to be like a short-lived thing, and that Diggle was going to get a Green Lantern ring.
I really hoped that was going to be a thing too. Like,
I also hope that they weren't going to kill Laurel, but
that was all like a big fan push than nothing else. But
sometimes that works. The Flash's episode this week I thought was great. Was actually I held off watching it. I actually watched a lot of other shows that I never watched before Flash before because I was like, oh god, it's the musical one. But it turned out being really good. Actually got me interested in maybe watching some musicals that I haven't seen before. The only musical I've ever seen is White Christmas because my mom loves it and we watched it at Christmas. I've never seen musicals growing up. I was raised in a situation where men didn't watch musicals because we weren't gay.
You have a lot of musicals to watch. I love lots of musicals, and
Holy
I thought
crap.
that Flash episode was terrible.
There's so many. I can introduce you to so
you,
many.
you didn't like the Flash episode? You didn't like it because like the music wasn't good, or you didn't like it because you thought it was like super campy and funny?
The music was fine. The environment and the quote unquote story around the musical I thought was dumb. The Music Meister is a really, really fun villain, and whatever they made him do, it was just dumb. The setting was dumb.
Hang on, don't get too into it.
I won't get too spoiled.
The premise was stupid. I will give you that, but the conclusion I felt was quite satisfying, and I really enjoyed kind of like the poking fun at the musical genre that went on throughout it. But it poked fun at it in a way that made it endearing to me, not that I wanted to be like, ha ha, and like ridicule it.
Well, yeah. To me, the conflict felt artificial. Like the conflict that was leading up to the musical stuff that's been kind of going on for the past few episodes just felt so artificial just so they could resolve it in the music episode, if that makes sense.
I did have that. Yeah, I agree with you there. I felt
so that setting. I don't know. I'm used to episodes like the Buffy musical, which was a masterpiece, and the Scrubs musical, which was another masterpiece. And then just
maybe
good musicals in general.
Maybe this will be the first of like future ones to come, and the other ones will be better developed.
Yeah, I'm just excited because it's a Glee reunion. I'm going to see Darren, Chris, Flash, and Supergirl singing on my show again, like they were in Glee. So,
was Flash on Glee?
Yeah,
must have been like after the other kids graduated and I stopped watching.
No, he was a villain in season 3 and 4. He was the evil gay warbler.
Oh, he was the bad guys. That's the one that put like the salt in the drink, right, or the rocks or something.
The rock salt in the slushy. And
the rocks and salt. I had it all. Like, really, I don't get credit for that.
He blinded Blaine, who plays the Music Meister.
Jeez, I didn't think I could hate Glee more, but you guys just.
He didn't blind him. He got rock salt in his eye, and he had to go to the hospital.
No, just the fact I could imagine, like, I'm gonna get this guy. I'm gonna put rock salt in his smoothie. Glee.
It's a running joke in Glee that the kids get slushies thrown in their face, like as a.
Which first off is assault. They should contact the police and get that shiz cut out right away. Like,
there's a whole lot of assault that happens, like by the principal and by the Like, violence is a problem in Glee. That's a whole other conversation we don't need to have. But. I'm just happy to see those 3 characters on the screen again. I need to catch up on my CW shows because I haven't watched since the winter break.
I will tell you, like, a lot of I have a problem that I can pretty much always figure out, or not always, but very frequently figure out where things are going. It was that way with Andromeda in some large parts. It's been that way in Flash. It's been that way in Arrow. I don't know if this was the finale for the poor man's Doctor Who. What's that show called? Legends of Tomorrow.
Legends of Tomorrow.
I don't know if this was the finale or not, but it finally had a twist that I did not see coming and that I really enjoyed.
Nice.
So
I'm still a few weeks behind on it.
So I'm excited about that as well. So do we have anything else to cover before I give Trent a friendly ribbing?
Are we doing that? That wasn't it?
No, we're not there yet. I've been teasing it. I'm drawing it out.
Well, we're an hour and a half in, so can you do it in 2 minutes or less?
Trent killed my character in D&D.
Well, yeah.
He had a giant eat my character.
How's that a ribbing?
Did you have anything to say for yourself? Do you have remorse? Do you have regret about
murdering you kind of sacrificed yourself and
I told you the other day, I have zero remorse. I made you make the decision. Your character is dead because you said yes. It was a good story moment, and I'm happy that that's what it's going to turn out to be. But you didn't have to die. So the question is, why are you projecting your guilt onto me?
For future people playing D&D, it's important to distinguish, is this person the boss of this small band of giants? Or is this person the boss of all of the giants? Because it's a very different sort of encounter when it's the second one.
It's not all. It's all of the hill giants.
Well, there you go.
To be specific. the boss of all the giants would be even much harder, because that would be a storm giant, and I'm a
Hey,
huge
watch out.
nerd.
Those hill giants will get you.
I mean, it couldn't have been much harder. I got eaten in this one.
I'm a huge nerd.
All right, so wrap us up, Trent, on your thoughts on Iron Fist.
I liked it. It's probably, in terms of first seasons of the 4 shows, it's battling out the bottom slot between it and Luke Cage. I think it was. I don't know. I had a hard time binging Daredevil season 2, and I didn't have a hard time binging this one. So, I mean, it's somewhere between that and Daredevil season 1 for me. Like, for me, it goes Jessica Jones, then Daredevil season 1, and then either Luke Cage. Luke Cage is probably better than Iron Fist in general, just because the first half is so strong.
That makes me worry.
I didn't mind it. I liked a lot of the character interactions. I think a lot of the acting was well done. There's an actress on there that plays Joy Meacham, who was on 90210 a few years back, and I always thought she was a way better actress than everybody that was on that show with her, and I think she's proved it in this one. The interesting thing about Iron Fist, and I think this is pretty true to the comics, is that he's a very like spoiled, half-developed, like kid martial arts guy in a man's body. Like, he doesn't handle the things very well because he never really had an adolescence. He's incredibly wealthy now that he's back, and so like he's not very what's the word I'm looking for?
Developed.
Well, I mean,
Sure.
yeah, I mean, his character is very flawed. He's hard to see yourself in him and relate to him.
Hopefully.
But he is still it's still a good story. Like the development of the hand and like Madame Gao and kind of like the backstory is all really good. Kind of like what is the hand, who's running it. You learn a lot more details about that. His powers are cool. Colleen Wing is awesome. I think she might be my new favorite Marvel character. I don't know. It was not hard. Like I never dreaded watching it, and I binged it all in one weekend. So I'd give it like a 7.5.
Based on your description of the main character, though, I think I'm going to have a really rough time because even though the
Maybe.
character makes sense, but that kind of like
Yeah.
immaturity or adolescence drives me nuts. So,
But a lot of the story, yeah, a lot of the story is his development, and so he gets better. Because a lot of it's kind of like that whole Batman Forever thing. Like, can he be Danny Rand and the Iron Fist? And everyone's basically telling him that he has to be one or the other. And so that's kind of one of the main themes of the season. But I don't know. I enjoyed it. I think it wasn't any harder to get through than the second half of Luke Cage. So, and I never thought the villain was gimmicky or annoying like it did in Luke Cage.
What did you the one part that the internet basically eviscerated it on, and I'm willing to accept that they could just be out of left field, as we've said they are on Mass Effect in a lot of areas. There's a part where he goes and meets with a actual like Asian female martial arts person and is like lecturing her on it, and
Yes.
people felt that was like super cringy and offensive and like just terrible. Like, did you feel that way about it, or was it just people
No.
overreacting online?
Not at all. I think it's an overreaction. I think it's a misunderstanding of what was going on. It's a thing between him and Colleen, and this isn't a spoiler at all. She is a Japanese style Bushido martial arts master, and he is a Chinese kung fu master who deals with like chi and like the inner power and stuff like that. They have two completely different styles, and they're basically arguing about whose style is better. And he tries to tell her that his style is better, and she tries to tell him that her style is better. And he's saying that like she could learn stuff from being able to like learn to focus her chi and all this other stuff. And people were saying that it was super cringy, that like how dare he tell an Asian person how to focus their chi, when if you reverse it, it's actually even, in my opinion, kind of more racist to assume that like every Asian person is into kung fu and knows how to focus their chi.
To quote the Turian, you humans are all racist.
Right.
Listen, you can't bring that blade on a ship. I don't care if it's a ceremonial item or not. It's a blade. It's a weapon. You can't bring it on the ship.
But no, Colleen is the one that he's arguing with. Like I already said, she is one of my new favorite people. She's very, very cool, very well developed, multi-dimensional. I hope she shows up in the Defenders series.
I saw a lot of people saying they wanted her and the this is gonna be terrible, but the Black Doctor nurse lady to have their own spin-off show. Like they felt that they were like the best out of all of this stuff.
Nurse Chapel. Well,
Yeah.
it's interesting. The lady, Misty Knight, the female detective from Luke Cage, and Colleen Wing actually were a crime-fighting duo in one of the comics. And so I thought that would be really cool if they did something like that too. But anyway, I think you should watch it. I think it'll be bearable. I think a lot of the like it's racist stuff. I mean, I'm not an Asian person, so I can't
people
really
looking for
speak
issues.
to. I can't speak to whether an Asian person should feel upset or not about it because I'm not an Asian person, so I won't do that. But I think that a lot of people that are making the claims that saying that you should be angry about it are white feminist people who don't know what they're talking about, personally, and that's just my opinion. So,
Well, cool. Thanks for your opinion.
yeah.
So let's
We're
go ahead
finally
and just
done with
wrap up
movies?
on that. Yep, switching back to movies now. So no. Thanks everybody for listening. Once again, I know this one ran a little bit long, but appreciate you for sticking with us throughout this whole podcast. Once again, please reach out to us on Facebook, email, social media of any kind, and we'll be love to hear from you. Next week, we'll probably continue talking about Andromeda. It'll probably be a full-on spoiler cast because we'll probably all be finished with the story at that point. So be prepared for that, as well as just anything else we want to talk about for the week. So thanks again for listening. Have a good one.
Bye.
Bye.